Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I each pick a film related in some shape or form. And hopefully, by the end of this episode, you have two films to go check out. And joining me for the fourth Thursday of every month, it is Jeff. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, anytime.
And we're doing a double dose of some Nora Ephron romantic comedies. Our first one directed by Nora Ephron, which is Sleepless in Seattle, and then written by Nora Ephron. It is When Harry Met Sally. And also, Rob Reiner was at least in this one, Sleepless in Seattle, acting as well. But Jeff, what were your general thoughts on Sleepless in Seattle?
I love Sleepless in Seattle. I think it's like this and When Harry Met Sally are like the maybe this is not the right word, but the pinnacle of like romantic comedies for me. These two like
Mm,
Sleepless in Seattle is a little kookier in a way, but I think
mm.
it's still so much fun.
Yeah, this I had no idea what the actual premise of this movie was.
Hmm.
Going in, I just knew that it was a famous rom-com with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan because they had a few together. And like I had no idea this was about a recently widowed man's son calls a radio talk show and in an attempt to find his father a wife. Um,
So you
it's
hadn't
like
seen this movie before, right?
correct. So I
Oh.
hadn't seen this one. And so going in, like I knew Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan were in it, and both of them were very charismatic. I think I think Meg Ryan really found her like sweet spot making films with Nora Ephron,
Hmm.
whether directing or writing. And Tom Hanks here is just like endlessly charming and charismatic. And also like the moment where he gets awkwardly stuck on the phone for this radio talk show and just the way that he just opens up is so meaningful and endearing. And it's just like, of course, a bunch of women are going to fall in love with this man and want him to be their husband.
Well, he's just so even when he's being like sarcastic and witty, he's being so endearing because he's just like that's just who Tom Hanks like is and was at that time. He was just
Yeah.
so electric, whether he was being the heartfelt sweet guy or just like the smart assy kind of joke slinger where he's like, I'm gonna take my kid's radio away the moment we're done with this call, Like no matter what he's doing in this movie, he's so electric and fun.
Oh no, like he has so many great lines throughout this film
Hmm.
and just the way that he engages with the world and people around him. Yeah, even when he's being like a little snarky and stuff like that, he's still really nice and charming. And this is crazy because this came out the same year he won his first Oscar for Philadelphia. So
Hmm.
like very different vibes, obviously, in terms of performance. But like here, he's great, and like Nick Ryan is so charming. I'll certainly be talking more about that with When Harry Met Sally, because there's I think that's like peak Meg Ryan for me. But no,
Yeah.
like because obviously this is the first time I watch it, like I said. So I think the buy-in on the premise was a little bit challenging for me for a bit because I'm like, by the end of the movie, you're supposed to be like, okay, they should be together.
Hmm.
And it's so weird because like there's only fleeting moments of them even like making eye contact with each other. Crazy, I'm gonna stand in the middle of the road, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, like moments like that. But like it's so interesting because this is such a parallel story. And it's such a shame. Like, it's such a shame. Like, her dynamic with poor Walter, Bill Pullman's character, is just like, Walter didn't do anything wrong to anybody. He's just, she's not in love with him.
Hmm.
It's much more of a comfortable relationship. And Walter, good guy Walter, even was like, I don't want to be anybody's like consolation prize or anything like that. And like, I thought that was a very meaningful conversation that they had towards the end. And I love Bill Pullman. Um, he obviously doesn't pop up in a lot anymore. Like just having him pop up in anything is nice and charming. Can't wait for him to be Lone Star again. Uh
Hmm.
in Spaceballs too. Wild. Um, but you even have like some interesting supporting turns. Like I saw Victor Garber pop up here. Reed Wilson's in
Oh
this.
yeah.
Really love, honestly, really loved Rob Reiner. This movie. He had some of like the weirdest gags and jokes and stuff like that in this movie.
Yeah.
But like I just love his comedic timing and his approach to delivering jokes and stuff like that. I just, I rewatched Spinal Tap and then saw Spinal Tap 2. And I'm just like, he's I feel like the underrated part of those movies. It's
Hmm.
just so much fun though. But there's just a lot of, and like Rosie O'Donnell's in here. There's just a
Ed
lot of,
Harris.
yeah, which is like really fun in this movie was great too. That's a fun thing. Like I didn't expect us to have so many great like little supporting characters that are a lot of fun too. I
Right.
think they brought a lot of personality to the film for sure. I'm trying to think how I just like specifically describe it, but like Nora Ephron has a very specific like I know there's music that's adult contemporary, but like if I had to describe a movie that like a vibe of movies that's adult contemporary, this is what I would describe. It's like there's something very sleek and mature about it, and it just looks very like urban
Hmm.
in terms of that way and stuff like that. I got the same vibe from You've Got Mail.
Yeah.
That kind of feel to it, and I guess that's Nora Ephron's vibe
Yeah, that
in terms
is.
of
That's definitely
directing.
just her vibe. And on that topic of being like more mature, like you even see that with the kids in this movie, like with the
Mm.
with Tom Hanks's son, and then like the his little like friend that's a girl that shows up later
Yes,
in the film. Like they both like, especially her, she just acts so like mature, even though she's a child. She's still abbreviating words that shouldn't be abbreviated, but she's also like buying plane tickets on a computer, and like the
on a computer.
and the kid is like talking about like all these very mature things, but also saying like you know but you see the women scratching the guy's back and stuff. It's like you still see that little bit of innocence.
Yeah.
It's funny in a way.
Yeah, I definitely like his son character is a lot of fun. And like especially like the whole entire crux of him like calling up this radio show
Hmm.
in the first place. And Tom Hanks on the radio and obviously the very end, um the meet cute finally. Um which I'm not like obviously Nora Ephron loves some classic
Yeah,
romance films because like You've Got Mail is basically a remake of one,
shop around
and
the corner.
yep, and this one like explicitly keeps referencing this film and like taking this meetup from it
Hmm.
specifically. And like I could appreciate how filmmakers can like inject some of their own passions about movies into it. And you know, on some level, like this feels like a film.
Yeah.
There's texture to it and stuff like that. Like that's one thing that kind of went away from the 80s and 90s was like even something like this, a romance. It felt like a film. It had this like texture and tangible nature to it. And I think Efron does a great job of making that come to life. The music certainly is going for those big emotional elements and stuff like that. And I was pretty charmed by this. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I like this movie. It's not one that I go back to very often, even though I do
Mhm.
like it a lot. But I should come back to it more because it's just like Meg Ryan is so likable. Tom Hanks is super likable. The kid is so likable. Like there's so much to like about this film. I'm not sure why I don't go back to it more.
It's very interesting because like I'm generally not the type of person to go back to like a ton of romances and stuff like that very
Hmm.
often. It's not usually the kinds of films, but like I've been snake bitten by When Harry Met Sally because I'm pretty sure I've watched that like 4 times in the past like 3 years. Um, like when you get a really when you get a really good any type of film, this Sleepless in Seattle just has this nice vibe to it. It has that charm to it. It it certainly feels like an old school comedy that has an outlandish and weird setup
Hmm.
because so many rom-coms today have like the same exact setup to everything. This is like guy's son calls up a radio show and then he gets stuck on the phone and then every woman falls in love with him, including this woman across the country who is slowly like becoming disenfranchised in her own relationship and wants to meet him and be with him. And it's just like you don't get that kind of uh plot in a whole lot of romance films. And
Hmm.
this feels, I feel like Nora Ephron does such a great job of making it feel authentic and meaningful and not like weird and crazy and creepy and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think it works in that way for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good observation about this.
But I guess, Jeff, do you have anything else that you wanted to add on about Sleepless in Seattle?
No, I like this movie a lot. I'm always going to. I think it's one of Nora Ephron's best, if not her best.
There you go. I I guess I've only seen 2 films that she's directed. I think this and Got Mail. Yeah, because like the thing is, I know like all of her films. I know what they are. It's just I really haven't watched them. Like I'm aware of Michael and Mixed Nuts and
Hmm.
Bewitched and Julie and Julia. I just haven't watched them up to this point.
Yeah.
But her other film is written by Nora Ephron and directed by Rob Reiner during his incredible streak of amazing films throughout the 80s into the 90s. It is When Harry Met Sally. And this is some tight 95 minutes of just perfection. Um but just throwing that out there. But Jeff, what are your general thoughts on When Harry Met Sally?
Well, talk about a movie you could go back to and rewatch. I mean, this movie is just fun every single time.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I've been watching this movie since I was probably like early high school. That's when
Mhm.
I kind of discovered this movie. And just Billy Crystal is just the king in this movie. He's so good at everything he's doing. I love it. And Meg Ryan, she's quirky and she's weird and she's the perfect foil to Billy Crystal, even though they end up liking each other and at least
Mhm.
tolerating each other for most of the movie and becoming friends. But this movie is just so much fun. I love it.
There's so many great things about this film, and I guess from the start, like Rob Reiner just has such an amazing touch as a
Yeah.
director, and when he's on, like he doesn't have like an auteur kind of vision, kind of. He's probably much more like workman-like from like a filmmaking standpoint. There are a
Hmm.
few inspired shots. Like I love the 2 phone calls in the morning, and how it like puts all of them on screen and they're all talking to each
Hmm.
other on the phone and stuff like that. Those are just some inspired things, but like there's just a warmth to this. There's just this feels so charming and just hits that vibe. It's funny. It's really moving. I love
Yeah.
the storytelling uh element of having these older couples telling their stories. I love
Hmm.
the one where they're talking over each other
Yeah, that's a
and
good one.
are telling like 2 different stories, but they both like converge in the same place at the end. Like those are so charming. And this really captures just like setting well, like even just like the little scenes in the park and the leaves changing colors and stuff like that. All those like visual elements and all that kind of stuff, it just really comes together and is really effective and engaging for sure.
Hmm. I love seeing the progression of their friendship and everything too, because you
Mhm.
see like them going from barely acquaintances, not really liking each other, to bumping into each other on on the
Mhm.
plane, and then seeing each other at the bookstore, and then you see them actually like hanging out and doing things in that long little montage where they're like on the phone watching Casablanca.
Yeah.
It's so it's expertly crafted the way that they kind of showed their progression of their friendship.
It's so great because this is such a great journey where it
Hmm.
takes you, and it's so unexpected and charming and moving. And yeah, if like it has its pieces and it jumps time, but it moves so well and the story's so tight. There's like no fat, no flab, no nothing on this
Hmm.
film. And I just love like that opening sequence where the tension is so great. The judging of like her ordering and then the full circle moment when he's um like I love how it like takes you 2 days to order anything. Just like all that moment where Billy Crystal just opens up and just starts saying the things he loves about her that like
Yeah.
this isn't like you're beautiful, you're smart. No, like these are specific little things that are uniquely
Hmm.
Sally that stand out. And I love that moment so much. And like Mega Ryan's melting. Billy Crystal is so one, he's so damn funny in
He's
this
so good.
movie.
Yeah, like I said, he's so good in this. He's got
Like,
so, he alone has so many good quotable lines from this movie that like I even find myself slipping them into conversation with people that I know haven't seen the movie to make me
mhm.
sound funny and smart.
um, and there's like the batting cage, which so him and his friendship with Bruno Kirby is amazing.
Yeah.
The set the dialogue at the scene of the football where they're doing the wave, and then the payoff of like, oh, she had already ordered the movers, but she already's in love with somebody. Like that just like punch like right at the end of that whole interaction. The batting cage. You made a woman meow. And like I'm just playing at the batting cage is a lot of fun. And Bruno Kirby and Carrie Fisher have great chemistry and fun. I just love the trust me, I can promise you now, I will never want
Yeah, I
this
love that.
wagon wheel table.
I love that scene when when Billy Crystal goes off about the coffee table. He goes, "This stupid wagon wheel coffee table," and then he's like, "I thought you liked it. I was being nice."
Just perfect timing. And like Billy Crystal brings in all of his little quirky things like that mishman and like doing all like the little
Oh God,
voices.
I love when he does that. He's like, "I am going to talk like this."
Yeah. And even he's not in well, here's the thing. He's in what, three Rob Reiner films at least that I'm aware of. Like
I don't
a
know. I'll take your
Miracle
word for
Max
it.
is the Miracle Max is like one of the best parts of Princess. Have fun storming the castle. And like he is a mime waiter in This Is Spinal Tap with Dana Carvey. And he delivers one of the funniest lines. He's like, come on, mime is money. And I'm like, yeah,
That's funny.
done. Great. He, I've loved Billy Crystal since I watched Monsters Inc. as a kid, and as Mike Wazowski, and he is just so charismatic and so fun. And this film has so much depth, though. I just love how this film navigates. It really navigates and reckons with like, can men and women be fun without sex getting in the way?
Hmm.
And there's a lot of meaningful conversations, there's a lot of perspective, and all of those things that really come together in this film. Like, this film should not work at 95 minutes where it feels so rich
Hmm.
thematically and have so many great, hilarious moments. God, Rob Reiner, was on a something special in the 80s for sure. And then of course, the whole entire faking an orgasm scene and one of the best payoffs of a joke ever where it's very obviously Rob Reiner's mom because they look exactly alike. She's like, I'll have what she's having. Just it's
Honestly, like,
perfect.
I mean, that scene is so popular and so famous, but it's not even my favorite scene in the movie, if I'm being honest. Like,
Like,
so many, like, this movie's so good that there's so many other scenes that I think
mm,
are like some of the best scenes. Like,
mm,
one of my favorite scenes is like the coffee table scene, and one of my other favorite scenes is when like they're in Harry's apartment and they're moving like the rug around, and he's talking about that the girl he went on the date with to the Ethiopian restaurant. And then even the football, like where they're at the football game. I remember in college, I had to direct in film school, I had to direct a scene where like I like two people from my class had to like be actors, and I picked that scene to be the thing that they reenact.
nice.
And so I'm like, because
That's
it was one of my,
fantastic.
it had to be with two men. And so I was like, okay, well, like, I'll use this scene because that movie was so fresh in my head. I'm like, let's use it. I think there's so many, like, that's the best part about this movie is that there's so many scenes that can be like crowned as like the best scene of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, the even like the super awkward double date that ends with Carrie Fisher
Yeah.
and Bruno Kirby like running into the taxi cab. Um, I had a bit of a I always have a bit of a moment watching this film because like at the dinner it's like, oh, Harry Harry's from New Jersey. It's like, oh, where are you from? It's like
Oh,
East
yeah.
Orange. I'm like, oh, Haddonfield. I grew up in Haddon Township, the town next to Haddonfield. So like I have that little moment anytime that scene happens, and I'm just like Haddonfield because they're the rich town next to my hometown. So like I'm like Timmy Turner's dad being like Tinkleberg.
Yeah.
It's like just having those little personal moments. I'm like, somebody said Haddonfield, what? But it just this is such a perfectly written film. It's so funny, it's so moving, and I really do melt in that moment where he professes his love to her at New Year's, and like Meg Ryan is like beautiful crying, and just they just have this like perfect moment with each other, and it's just like good for you, Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
He has the charisma. It really works for sure. I guess Jeff, do you have anything else that you wanted to mention about When Harry Met Sally?
No, I think it's like a near perfect film for me. I've got nothing else to say about it that we haven't already said.
Agreed. You should all go check it out if you haven't watched it. Go watch it 4 times in the next like year. You won't get sick of it. I'm really tempted to keep picking this as because like my wife and I do a double feature on for Valentine's. We each pick a movie.
Hmm.
I'm so tempted to keep picking this one. Princess Bride had been my first two, and then I've been trying to shake it up, but you know what? I'm definitely leaning to this, 5 months out. We'll see if that sticks. But Jeff, thank you as always for coming on and chatting movies with me.
Of course, anytime.
And Jeff will return, like at the end of Avengers movie. We have an interesting double feature we're gonna do next time. Um, we're going to be doing a double dose of 80s music biopics. We're going to do Amadeus and Coal Miner's Daughter. Not very much alike in any other way. And next week, my wife Jess and I are going to be doing a double dose of some old Vincent Price films with House on Haunted Hill and House of Usher. So that'll be some fun kicking off spooky season for October for sure. But thank all of you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. What's your favorite rom-com? What's your favorite Rob Reiner movie too? I think that's a fun little prompt because he had so many great ones there in the 80s and early first half of the 90s for sure. And make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. The SPD and Crew Podcasting Network is ever expanding. So if you want to be part of the crew with being a guest on one of these shows or starting your own podcast, reach out to us on our website. And there's so many great shows you can listen to with all different types of interests. And if you like our logo, check out HiFlyer Creative for all your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Retrospective here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network.